G'day Space Engineers and welcome to a little extra episode as we kind of left it on a cliffhanger and I couldn't resist to get this out to you as soon as possible. Did a little bit of testing off camera as I kind of just finished editing the last episode and I think I kind of figured out why it was doing what it was doing and why it was sent over to be repaired, because when it was being printed up it may have damaged one of the blocks that I have an event controller looking at, and then triggered a flea timer where if I go into it very quickly, it gets it to actually switch over its autopilot to go onto the one that sends it to go and be repaired, the one just here, apart from doing a lot of other different stuff. And I think I've figured out why it was all not working. So I wanted to kind of get out everything and all that sorts of stuff on testing this out properly in this episode. I'll just kind of zip back to here. And I've just put a control seat on my drilling platform and just right-clicked out a nice flat surface. So there's no wasted ore or stone being pulled into the actual connector and being pulled into our drone, which we also have just a bunch of sorters on our cargo drone that we can specify exactly what we want it to pick up. So I'm going to set it to, I don't know, let's set it to iron or something very quickly. And we can even do that now. Sorter. And it should be one, that's the ammo. This is out, so we don't want it to take any ore. We just want it to take iron. So we can scroll down to the I, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, iron ore. Let's add that one there, and then let's add the same thing on the other one. So it will only take iron ore out of that drilling platform, really nice and easy. So that should be absolutely fantastic the way that one is. Actually, that should be missing one sorter. Conveyor sorter, this one here. Yep. Needs to have all three. 2 in, 1 out, pretty much. So, let's get this going. Let's do a quick shift 5 there, and let's just see exactly what this does when I tell it to trigger right meow. So, let's start it up and get it going. It's really thinking about it. There's that. Excellent. I'll just kind of fly on top of it. And it should go all the way up to the GPS above us, the nice high one. I'll go to the remote block of where it's using now. On its way to the drill. Yep. It's going to turn the collision avoidance on the correct remote block. It's going to come over above the drill dock on the nice high approach GPS. Turn its collision avoidance off and turn on a 0.2 event controller. So if I go in there, it's a little bit confusing. When it sees a connector ready to connect, it will start the load timer, as well as do a few other things. If it does not see the connector ready to connect onto that dock, it will start the flea timer instantaneously. So we should be getting up to where we need to go. Where is it going? What is it doing? It should be getting up where we need to go now. There we go. Excellent. Because I've got the precision mode on this time, this is like the 3rd test I've actually performed on this one. I've gone through a little bit of ice just over there behind that, but it's well worth it. Once this is actually set up, I can just set the remote blocks out to what they need to do, and it will do everything I want it and more. So if this thing gets shot at or destroyed, it'll trigger the flea timer, it'll go back and all that sorts of stuff. So we'll go down to the remote block one more time, because we have explained when it gets to the approach, but when it gets down to the drill dock or the drilling dock's platform's connector, it'll turn on the event controller 0.1 and turn the autopilot off, because this is once again in a circle flight mode. So we'll just go to the 0.1 speed limit, and this one is telling a overridden thruster to either turn off or turn on, whether it is above or below 0.25 meters per second, and that overridden thruster should be this one just here. So once it gets down to all the way down here, it should be absolutely perfectly fine. And it's just going to take its time because it has the precision mode on, where if I go into it and I'll turn that off just to show you the difference. Let's turn that off. It will zoom down a lot faster. So now it doesn't have to think about things so much, and it's just going to do what I tell it to do right now. Should go in the middle of it. Oh, it just was able to connect, so that should be fine. That is another thing I'll have to do a bit of testing on, me replacing these remote or these GPS, as that is not exactly where the remote blocks are. All three of them are in that exact position right there, going straight down right in the middle and right above the connector right here. So what this drone is now waiting for, if I go into its cargo load event controller, is that it's waiting to get above 99.5% before triggering an RTB timer telling it to go back home and telling its programming that it is full of ore. So let's go ahead and let's get this thing on. So let's get the drills on. Let's get the pistons flowing. Hopefully they shouldn't be on a too fast a speed. Let's just get that a really slow speed like that. And let's get the advanced rotor on to start spinning. So let's get out of that. And let's just have a look. So that's perfectly fine the way it is. It might be good to get this reversed around so it's not constantly picking up all of these dirt blocks we see. And that should now start filling up all the iron that we have specifically told the sorters to collect. Let's get the inventory iron. Cool. Let's go and check that event controller. Event cargo load. It should eventually start filling up very, very shortly. Hopefully once this starts filling up. Unless I've got those sorters in the incorrect orientation. As I said, it is extremely hard to get this to print out in a different world through a blueprint, especially with its programming. So I'm going to have to tinker with it just a little bit for it to work. So I'm pretty sure I'll need to switch over the connect sorter swap. Let's get this one, that one there to switch lock. Let's not get that, and let's just start that timer. So it should now start putting stuff in. Connected to drone connector, switch lock. That should hopefully be full. If not, I'm not going to be very happy. Inventory. Yes. Okay, good. Okay, good. Let's go to that event controller, the cargo load. Yep, it filled up extremely fast once those sorters were actually in the correct orientation. As I said, building stuff up from this sort of thing isn't the best sort of way. Let's get the remote block and get the precision mode off. And then on the repair, I'll do the same thing as it was already all off to begin with. I'm just trying to figure out the exact location of the GPSs, as when I placed them in the last episode, I think I may have been askew and not completely straight on the connector when I placed those GPSs. So can't blame me if I've added or just moved those sorts of things, but I'll name the exact same way and they'll be in the exact same sort of position, just more evenly spaced and placed for these blocks themselves to actually hit them directly in the middle of them so it will work efficiently and effectively. So now we should actually have a look at its tanks of hydrogen. That would probably be a good idea. Let's have a look. We got, oh, 15%. They are getting really low, but it should be more than enough to actually get us to fly down here. Don't forget, this is a very experimental sort of stuff, and I will be uploading it to the Steam Workshop. So yeah, pester me and I will upload it and try and work on it to be able to upload and maybe work in your world, as it is definitely not in my world at the moment. And drop down, connect just as those tanks practically ran out. That was perfect timing. So now we've got the perfect ore collected last run. In other words, there were no errors at all. That is fantastic. This should now actually be transferring all of those goodies over here. I'll need to turn on these, which I did get in the last episode. So that actually should be already pulling it all out. That's fantastic. Now I can just remove these, as I've just replaced the exact same functionality that those two sorters have with these two, because I needed resources to these welders at all times. And I've just put a simple sensor that kind of looks in front of it at any sort of small ship or subgrid, aka when my cargo drone gets close to it, it'll just turn all of these welders on or off depending if that drone is in that sensor's range or not. Just really, really quite simple just there. I hope I kind of clarified a hell of a lot of things over this kind of space of period. You kind of learned something along the way. This is now working. I can just reset that along its perfect way and getting ready. So now the car goes empty. It's just waiting for the battery to be completely full. Just about there. Fantastic. Good timing. It'll kind of flicker. That's why that event controller is at 99.9%. It won't work without it. So now it's just waiting for all of these hydrogen to kind of fill up kind of slowly. I need to get a tank and I need to get a new drilling platform to get a whole buttload of ice. Like, oh my god, this thing takes a lot of ice. But anyways, I hope you liked the extra little episode. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. As always, stay sharp till next time. See ya.